left turn.
I am about halfway, so I've been going about 3.5 hours now, and I'm in the low country of North Carolina. So I'm it doesn't appear that there's a whole lot around here.
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Thank you. But when I find something that I feel like I can stop safely at to use the bathroom, I'm going to do that, probably get a little bite to eat, and probably grab a drink that has electrolytes in it. So when I do my stretches before the hike, I'll already have some electrolytes in my system. But yeah, that's the plan for now. I just wanted to kind of touch base now. With it being Labor Day weekend, and I found a shuttle last minute that can run me from the trailhead, or the terminus to the trailhead again, so I can get to my car. So I lucked out with that. If not, I was going to plan on hiring a private shuttle, but everything panned out just fine. So I am having to change my plans a little bit. I was planning on starting and going south to north, which apparently is the more difficult way to go, but it just made more sense with me coming from the south and living south of the hike to start south, go north, and then have the shuttle bring me back south. But apparently that's not how it works, so I have to drive north and head northbound to southbound, and then catch the shuttle southbound to take me back to my car northbound. It's not that big a deal. It's really more of an east to west thing. But anyway, so that's the plan now. And my plan to load up on electrolytes has seriously backfired because I've had to stop 2 times to go to the bathroom. So it's a little bit brisk out. I'm guessing probably about 58, 60 degrees, and it's 9 a.m. So I'm glad that I went back in and grabbed a light jacket. We'll see. I hope I stay warm at night. I'll keep you guys posted. It occurs to me that I kept on saying North Carolina the whole time I've been in South Carolina. Part of it, I think, is the fact that I got up at 3 a.m. Part of it is the fact that I'm really trying not to screw this trip up. And part of it is the fact that I'm so stinking excited. So bear with me. Obviously I made a mistake. I'm still in South Carolina. But I think it's not going to be too much longer before I hit the North Carolina border. I just wanted to let you know I'm not a complete dingbat, and I realize you can't get from Flagler Beach, Florida to North Carolina in 3 hours. So I just want to make a quick correction on that.
Police reported ahead.
Okay, one more car video before I get to the trailhead, I promise. And really the purpose of this video is I don't always know all of you guys personally. And the reason why I decided to do this video partly was selfish. I want to have a little bit of a video diary of my trip. This trip means a lot to me for various reasons, but I guess I should probably introduce myself. I'm Jacqueline Turnage. I'm a local realtor. I live in Flagler Beach, Florida, and I was born and raised in DeLand, Florida, so I'm a Floridian through and through. My grandparents were locals in North Carolina, though. They lived in Hendersonville, North Carolina for a number of years, and my grandfather's from the Raleigh area, if I'm not mistaken. So basically, when I was upset, when I was a teenager, I would come up to their home and I would spend some time on the porch, and I would just kind of collect my thoughts, and generally speaking, I would go back feeling much better. So when I got to thinking about backpacking and it being more of like a spiritual journey and a personal journey of mine, and becoming more of a fitness routine, North Carolina seemed like the logical choice. I'd been like dying to go back and see the mountains, and I haven't since I was probably in my late teens. So at any rate, here I am. Actually, it was probably my early 20s now that I think about it. But here I am. I'm not somebody that, I'm nobody special. I've done day hikes in the Pisgah Forest before with my grandparents. A day hike, no big deal. I'm pretty sure we did one of the more level hikes. As I recall, we ended up summiting, I believe, at one point, but it was just me and my dad, and I think my siblings, really. I don't think my grandparents made it to the summit. So at any rate, I'm going to be doing the whole thing, and it's sort of nostalgic for me. I need to get away from, ironically, technology a little bit. So I've set aside work. The real estate market in Flagler County has been absolutely insane right now. So it's caused me to be on call pretty much around the clock, and everybody needs a break. So I set it up to where everybody knows I'm out of town. I'm going to be checking my email once a day in the evening. And the only reason I'm going to be on my phone is for taking pictures and then doing this video diary, which I hope to turn into a YouTube video. So once again, I am no expert. I know a little bit about like loop hiking because I used to live in Europe, and I did some day hiking in the Pisgah Mountains before, or Pisgah Forest before, but it's going to be my first through hike, and part of the reason why I'm doing the video as well is accountability, because I know that I don't want to chicken out or give up if I'm holding myself accountable. So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoy it. And like I said, this will be the last car video before I actually get to the trailhead, and then I'll take a couple pictures and do some more footage for you. Oh, I don't know where I'm going now. So we're right at the very beginning of the trail here, and you can see it's already like climbing dramatically. From what I understand, the first part and the last part of this trek is like grueling. So I'm gonna get to the top and then I'll see you later. Okay, so I made it up, and I got a little bit of privacy up here, so I think I'm gonna sit a minute. I'm gonna stretch like I intended to. There wasn't really a space to down there, and I'm gonna pray a little bit and just ask for blessings on this journey, and that I forgive myself for what I'm about to do to myself. So I'll check in a little bit. It's a perfect day today. Look at the weather. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I was told on good authority to make sure that you break every 15 minutes for your first 2 breaks. So 15 minutes, 5-minute break, 15 minutes, another 5-minute break. And then you can walk for an hour, then you have to take a 15-minute break. So I'm sitting for my first 5-minute break. I'm gonna get going again here in a minute. It kind of sucks because I felt like I was getting into a stride, but I don't want to get injured. So, and it's very rocky out here, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and take my break, get some Gatorade in me before I run out of that, and then I'm going to get to walking again. So you guys see the end of that tree right there, like way down there, the end. Yeah. Your girl went ahead and took her hat off there because her head was hot. Put it up on top of my trekking pole to take a break, and my brand new Oakleys right there went flying way down there, like way down there. So I had to climb all the way down that ravine and pray I didn't keep going. Thank God I didn't, because that log is totally rotten. But I got him back. Whew, so I just stopped for another break. I got my first 2 breaks out of the way, and I went for an hour. So what is that, like an hour and a half or so going, and then I realized I was going over, so I made myself stop. It'll be about the time that I threw my sunglasses in the ravine. So now I'm extra tired, and I feel like I shouldn't have started a hike after getting up at 3 a.m. and driving 7 hours, but I don't know. I'm hoping I can keep going to find a decent spot to camp some point this evening. So okay, so I guess we're about 2.5 hours in now. Finally hitting my stride. I'm not like dying. It's leveled out a little bit. Here, I'll turn around so you can see the trail. Finally, I think I got over that first ridge. I found out I did the Cold Mountain Detour, which I guess is worth it. That's what they tell me when I pass people. But I guess it adds a little more to your trip. So I guess I'm doing more than 40 miles. But so far the weather's perfect. If I had to guess, it's probably about 75 degrees out right now. Blue skies, I mean, just absolutely incredibly gorgeous. If I wasn't dying, it would be wonderful. I'm seriously regretting my choice of footwear. What I had read was that trail runners were better than boots on the AT, and in particular on the Art Loeb, because all the rockiness and the predisposition for the trails to flood when it rains. And I'm anticipating rain on Wednesday. Actually, I'm anticipating a deluge on Wednesday. So I've packed accordingly. I fully expect to get soaked, but I have plenty of socks to prevent trench foot, and I have worn my trail runners so that way I can air them out. I also have a pair of camp shoes that I do not have to wear socks with, that have straps, that I'm hoping if my feet get too wet and they start to get hot spots, I will be able to change into those and give my feet a little bit of breathing room. So that's the plan now. I'm not even having to use my trekking poles right now. It's pretty easy going up. Of course, as soon as I say that, it starts to get a bit of an incline again. But I will check in just a few. So far, right now, this is like the most pleasant the hike's been. Not gonna lie, getting up that first grade was really, really tough. It was mentally challenging to make myself. It's a very strange feeling, making yourself leave transportation and civilization behind. Every time I've been hiking, I've kind of had to contend with it, especially when your body starts to ache before the hiker's high kicks in. So anyway, I think I've got a bit of a high going now. I'm going to see how many hours I can get in before dark. I'm hoping I don't have to do too much night hiking because I did get a later start than I wanted to. But we still have probably about 4 or 5 hours before I need to start thinking about setting up camp. So hopefully I'll make it to Tennant Mountain over the ridge here. And I hear, if you get there early enough, which I don't know today, but I hear that it's quite a lovely campsite on the other side of the ridge. So that's what I'm shooting for. Although when I did talk to a couple of hikers that I passed along the way there, they told me that camp was not for a good distance. So just trying to stay mentally tough and not psych myself out too much because I just started. So I will check back in a little bit. There's the first sign of fresh water. Pretty little stream going through here. Believe me, I appreciate the switchbacks getting up the mountain, but if they're straight up, is it really a switchback? Damn it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to stop for a little bit of water here without getting terribly wet, I hope. Let's see. I can fill this guy up. Oh, it's so cold. I just passed my last water source for a while, as I was told. Luckily I filled up. I've got about 1.5 liters now, and passing enough people heading back the other way. Excuse me. They've been offering me water if I need it, so I know I'll be okay until I get to the campground. I'm really hoping I can make it to Deep Gap or just before it, before dark. I really don't want a dark hike, especially with all the mosquitoes, and I've been using wasp spray, and these mosquitoes don't care. They're like hummingbirds. So, needless to say, every time somebody gives me a approximate distance or time frame to get over this giant mountain, just gets further and further out depending on who you ask. So I've realized that backpacker distance is pretty subjective. So Who knows how much longer I have. I heard 1.8 miles to get over this mountain, and I heard 3 miles. Either way, I'm closer to the top than I am the bottom. So I'm flat exhausted. So I am spent. So this is where I'm staying. Looks like somebody was nice enough to leave some firewood for me. So I'm going to be building camp here. I'm going to put my tent up, and I'm going to try and dry off because I am high right now, and in the altitude, and I can feel that the temperature is dropping kind of quickly, and I am soaking wet, like from head to toe soaking wet. So make sure that I get my tent up. It's nice and dry on the ground, so I don't have to worry too much about that, but and it's nice and level here. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pitch my tent. Hopefully I'll get a nice fire started. That'll keep me warm through the night, and then I can start thinking about food and water. I finished off 2 liters of water just getting up here, and to be honest with you, I don't really think I want to carry more in my pack. It's really heavy, and until I get to the 3rd day where I know that water is going to be more scarce, I really don't see the reason to carry around 4 liters, which is what I'm capable of carrying it around right now. So I have about 1.5 liters in my platypus sack in my pack there, and I'm just gonna see how far that I'm gonna ration. I'm really tired, and it's early yet, but I'm gonna try and ration the water, and then tomorrow I hear that on the other side of this camp there's a bunch of water sources, so I'm assuming I need to leave a little bit for breakfast in the morning, and otherwise I can help myself. So I will touch base with you once I get camp set up and show you what that looks like. I want to show y'all something real quick. When I was doing my research for this trip, with the terrain being what it is, a lot of people recommended that you lay underlayment underneath your tent to prevent any sort of leakage. Also because it rains like crazy in the Appalachians, so which I'm expecting on Wednesday for sure. So I figured out that if you go to Harbor Freight, in the tarp section, they've got a little 4x6er like this. It fits perfectly underneath my little scout tent. It's a 1 to 2 person little scout tent. It weighs less than 2 pounds. And I love it because the tarp, I didn't have time to do any sort of seam sealer on the stitching on my tent because of the short time frame I had before leaving for this trip. But in the future, I'll do the seam sealer. But in lieu of that, if it starts to rain, I haven't tacked it down. I can just pull it out from underneath my tent quickly and then drape it over the top. And I'm hoping that it'll kind of deter some of the rain from getting in. So excuse me, I'm looking a hot mess right now. I finally got camp set up. There are mosquitoes, I swear, the size of quarters out here, and they are buzzing around the tent. I'm so glad I don't have any in my tent right now, but I can hear them just, they sound like little buzzsaws or like little hummingbirds. It's nuts. I had 2 of them on the trail in my ear. It was so irritating. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that tomorrow. But anyway, got camp set up. Took my allergy medicine because anybody that knows me knows I need it. And I will be setting off early in the morning. Good night. I don't know. It's been difficult. Everything's wet up here, so you can't start a campfire. Last night was freezing. Luckily my sleeping bag is 3 season rated, so as long as I snuggled up and put my head in the bag, I stayed relatively warm. But you can't sleep with your head in a bag, so every time I would pull my head out, I would still be wet from sweating all day, and I'd get pretty chilled, even though the bag itself was warm. So I'm worried about the temperature. I only brought 1 pair of pants when I was preparing for the trip. The forecast said it would be in the 80s and I would be hiking, so I didn't think I would need pants, but it is brutal at night, and the wind is pretty for real. All right, I'm on my 3rd day now. I I wasn't able to get some of the better stuff on my phone because I was an idiot and let it die. So I'm kind of disappointed about that, but I am on the descent, and you would think that that would be easier than the ascent, and it is not. I was not prepared for the downward slide with my feet being wet and trail runners, so I've already almost bit it a couple of times coming down some wet rocks with some algae on it. Just taking my time, trying to go slow, and then after a couple hours when I get to the bottom here, I'll be all done. So yeah, basically be prepared for some really rocky terrain. I mean, even just coming up to get to the water feature here was just absolutely brutal. So just make sure that you're prepared for that. I got a hip injury on my second day. My hip flexor is like burning bad, like really bad, and going downhill isn't much better. Absolutely make sure you have trekking poles. I would have taken a couple of tumbles had I not had them, partially out of just sheer exhaustion, and part because it's so steep and rocky up here. So I'm gonna finish my break, wet my face, and get back at it. So I'm at that part of my trip where I assume I'm getting close to the terminus, and I'm seeing day hikers again, and they all are telling me I'm only a mile or two from the terminus, and so I'd be really hopeful, except the last 2 or 3 I saw said the same thing, and they were pretty spaced out. So try not to get discouraged. I just really want to get done. It's been 3 days out here, absolutely starving, hungry, very hungry, really bad need of getting off my feet. I've got lots of hot spots, and I switched to my camp shoes even though I'm traversing rocks, because they don't have a toe in them, and I'm a little concerned about losing my toenails at this point. Every time the front end of my toe hits my shoe, it's pretty painful. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that those are a goner. But yeah, I'm trying to beat some rain. I hear they're supposed to get rain this evening. Bad rain, and coupled with the fact the last 2 nights have been in the 30s and low 40s, I definitely don't want to get hit by that. So hopefully, it really is only a mile or 2 away. Y'all, I'm finally back to my car. Guys, real quick, because it's kind of ridiculous, but I hyperextended my knees coming down. I think I'm stopping to get gas, and I have to walk like, I think Dixie said it was like a little Tyrannosaurus Rex, but she's right. Between my hip injury and my knees, I'm walking like a Tyrannosaurus, y'all. Okay, so I'm ecstatic. I managed to avoid all of the rain on my trip. Got out by 3 p.m., 3:30, I guess. So, not bad at all. I'm exhausted. I hurt all over. Walking like a T-Rex. I definitely need to ice my knees tonight. I will be staying. I was planning on just sleeping at the campground another night and then heading home in the morning, but I don't know. I'm up here and it's so beautiful, and I didn't get to get a lot of footage of any of the summit area, so I'm driving to Biltmore now. I went up there a couple times with my grandfather and my grandmother when I stayed with them, and they lived in Hendersonville. It's incredibly beautiful, and I've never been able to go when it wasn't like iced over and miserable to be outside. I mean, granted, most of it's inside, but I would like to be able to enjoy the gardens and do some wine tasting and stuff like that. So I'm gonna treat yourself. I'm gonna drive myself to Biltmore Estate, and hopefully I can find some decent lodging, because I'm only a half hour away, it says. So hopefully I can find some decent lodging, and I won't be camping or sleeping in my car, because I smell the worst I've ever smelled in my life. Like, you can smell every toxin that I've ever taken in, every ounce of booze I've ever drank, I swear, has come through my pores, and I am rank. Like, I am offensive. I felt bad crossing day hikers on the trail. Your girl stinks. And I tried to, like, you know, no. It's in my hair. It's everywhere. My skin smells like it. So, really looking forward to a hot bath, iced knees, elevated knees, and then I'm assuming a nice trip to Biltmore Estate tomorrow. So that's the plan, Stan. I'm on Hendersonville Road, y'all. I have to share this right now, okay? I found a hotel next to a Texas Roadhouse. Now, if you've ever been hiking
Turn left,
before,
then make a U-turn.
just lady, okay, if you've ever been hiking before, you know, okay, you want protein, you want potato, you're starving. I'm ready to, like, eat a baby, okay? So, I'm super excited. Like, I'm gonna waddle my ass over there. I'm gonna get myself a hotel at the Clarion. It's actually it looks like a decent hotel here. I'm gonna eat some Texas Roadhouse till I pass out. And then I'm gonna sleep for like 12 hours tonight, probably. So that's the plan anyway. I will touch base with you after my delicious meal.